Plarium's doing some good stuff? What? Hello everyone, Bront, CatHerder here. We're having some fun talking Raid Shadow Legends, and we are here on the free to pause account, but this doesn't particularly matter. I just picked an account to pull. I want to first thank Plarium. They've done something absolutely amazing, and this is actually really cool. Look at this. We have 100% gear removal for almost 2 weeks. This is absolutely amazing. This is the type of event that I think we should actually be shouting out for Plarium that they've done a good job for. Make this permanent or figure out a way to get rid of this gear removal cost. It is an albatross on this game, honestly. As an early free-to-play game player, with this particular account, silver was the hardest thing to deal with. And it wasn't just because it cost money to remove gear from people, but it made it that much harder to build up accounts, because not only did I have to roll up new gear, but then I had to also have the silver to pull old gear off of champions, particularly when rebuilding some of my best champions, to be able to be better to hit newer and harder content. It is the type of cost I think that hits newer accounts harder than older accounts, because older accounts can be pickier with their gear, so they're selling more gear, so they have more silver, they have less gear they need to roll up, and as a result, it's less problematic for them to spend occasionally to rip pieces off of other champions, because they are not spending the silver as often as these early game accounts. So I really wish they would kind of, fix this a little bit. This would be great, but this is a step in the right direction, and I need to shout out to Plarium. This is absolutely amazing. So, but that's not the only reason we are here. We are also here to talk about the Titan event just a little bit, and of course the new champion that is coming in. So let's move you out of the way so we can talk about stuff. With this reward calendar, everyone is getting Ludex Artor, and I think he's an actually interesting champion. I like him overall. I think he's going to be useful for early game accounts. I think he might be nichely useful for late game accounts. And, that's good. He doesn't need to be perfect. He's a free champion. Not every free champion needs to be an Alice caliber champion. Alice was absolutely amazing. Could probably play on almost any account in at least some spots. So that's great. This champion, not quite as good, but still kind of interesting. Let's go over the kit quick. I've gone over this before, but let's go over this kit one more time. In this sacred order here, he's pretty cool looking. I've talked about him before, but I like this aesthetic. He's got the old armor on here. He's got some of the metal face stuff that some of the sacred orders have. He's a pretty cool looking champion. Plus, I like the fact he's got these little ball things there. I think that's kind of cool, and there's not a lot of champions that have that sort of stuff. Raid knocks out these visuals in the park, but he's got a 25% speed in arena aura. I honestly wish this was like a 19% in all battles versus this 25 in arena, because I think that he's actually a better PvE champion than he is a PvP champion. But you know what? For early game accounts, the people struggle in arena, this is not too bad. This is certainly better than the 19% aura that you get from a lot of other champions. And he's got some speed boosting as well, which we'll get into in the kit. It's got an A1, attacks all enemies and heals all allies by 5% of this champion's max HP. It is damage based on attack, but we're not building him for damage. He is a support-based champion, so he's not built to be doing a ton of damage. Maybe his damage might be sneaky good, maybe not. I don't know the multipliers, but it doesn't look like it with his attack being under 1,000, but he's got a ton of HP, so let's get the most out of that heal instead. He's got an A2 that puts strengthen and increase attack, and puts a turn meter buff of 15% on everybody as well. So he can be a very good turn meter booster on a 3-turn cooldown. It is very Arbiter light, and I say Arbiter light because this is only 15% turn meter instead of 30. So the turn meter boost itself is not super strong, but the strengthen, very good, will not turn down strengthen. Increase attack, very good, will not turn down increase attack. And then finally, he's got a revive. So revives an ally with 50% HP, 50% turn meter, 50% increase attack buff on that ally for 1 turn, and then activates that ally with their default skill and attacks the enemy with it. So You get a little extra damage out of the champion immediately. There's a lot of interesting scenarios where you could set up somebody to possibly die, he revives them, and then they do this damage. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, so it's not a bad revive. There are better revives in the game, but it's not too bad. And then finally, he's got the passive here. If an enemy is killed by an ally's default skill after being revived, basically if this skill kills an enemy, resets the cooldown of his revive, which that is actually kind of cool. So, is he great champion? No. Is he going to play on my free-to-play? Oh, hell yes. He's going to be great on my free-to-play. I will probably end up 6-starring him, but I definitely will at least run him to 5-star, build him up quite a bit, put some decent gear on him, and run him through Faction Wars, because he will be a healer and a reviver in a faction that I think that's all I need to get through Stage 21. So there's another event that they're running down right now, which I think is kind of cool, is during this event, we have a 2-week Titan event. So Community Week Titan event here, Community Weeks, I guess. So this is running for 2 weeks and 7 hours as of the filming of this, which is, the first reset after they announced this. And we can get up to a 5-star soul for this dude. And, it's not too bad. In fact, getting this first star soul is not actually that difficult. If you do the champion training, for example, you only need to get to this 6,300 and you'll have 150 points, which actually gets you halfway to the 2-star already. Getting to the 3-star here is going to be 600 points. It is 1,500 to get to the 5-star. So this is going to start being definitely a bit difficult. And the 1,000 for this 4-star, yeah, it's okay. But really, what does that champion need? And we'll talk about that a little bit. Well, this champion wants HP and speed, and he doesn't mind defense. Well, level 1 blessing gets him a bunch of HP. Level 3 blessing gets him some defense. Level 2 blessing gets him some attack. Not particularly exciting, but hey, he does actually have an attack, so okay, a little bit of extra damage doesn't hurt. Level 4 gets him crit damage, which you don't care about crit damage. Now, I think it gets him a little bit extra HP too. I'm not 100% sure, and it might do something cool on the blessing perspective, but he doesn't need the crit damage at all. So the 4-star blessing versus the 3-star blessing, not particularly great. And the 5-star blessing is accuracy and resistance. He does not need accuracy under any circumstances for anything he does. However, resistance could be okay for him. But again, I think that you're better off just kind of taking it easy, going with the flow, getting, do as many events as you feel comfortable doing, and you should get at least the 1-star soul for him, if not the 3-star soul. Getting a 3-star soul for him will be very, very helpful for a lot of players, and you don't need to go much further than that. I might still go for the 4 or the 5-star soul on my main. I'm not 100% sure, just because I like having high soul counts. Plus, it definitely helps by having a variety of high soul champions for some of the Centrano stuff. Plus, you never know where souls are going to be very beneficial for certain content. Some of the newer content, the soul rating actually makes a difference in what you can do. I would not be surprised if soul count actually makes a difference in Faction Wars Advanced or the hard modes Faction Wars, which I do suspect is coming when this Titan event ends. There we go. I think Aitor is, or Lotor or whatever his name is, he is a good champion. I think he's not a great champion, but he's a free champion. So, I'm not going to complain about it at all. I think he will be very, very helpful for anybody who is fairly new. I think he will be very, very helpful for progression. I think he will be very helpful if anyone needs help in the Sacred Order getting through that, particularly a bunch of the people that just started accounts that actually have Alice. I think Alice and Aitor will probably be a great pair and probably will mostly carry Faction Wars just by themselves. So that's good. Cannot complain about that at all. And, the rest of his kit could be useful for a lot of different people, might be just kind of okay, but it's definitely a useful kit. And I think he will also be very, very helpful in hard Faction Wars as well for a lot of people, because I think he brings a lot of interesting support that honestly might be kind of lacking from that particular faction, as I think the only turn meter booster in that faction is Deacon Armstrong. And I mean, Deacon's a goat, but it's nice to have additional turn meter boosting that does something else as far as healing and revival is concerned as well. So, short video. Just wanted to get this out there. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful day. Let me know what kind of soul you think you're going to be going for from the event. Let me know if you like the kind of things that Plarium is doing with this gear removal. Let me know if you like the Titan events even. Some people like them, some people don't. I think if you aim for something fairly low, like the 600 out of the 1,750 points available, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised that maybe you'll get a little more done. Maybe you might go to a bonus 4-star soul without asking for it. And if you don't, you can certainly focus on something else entirely and just kind of cruise through these next 2 weeks pretty casually. So let me know what's going on down below. I really do appreciate it. You guys are absolutely amazing. And until the next video, I'm Bront, CatHerder.